Hunter's full moon. So, yes. And supposedly there was an eclipse out there at 5 o'clock tonight, but I didn't see that. We have 5 items on the agenda tonight. The first one being 823 Mill Road. If you could step to the podium, identify yourself, and inform us of your plan.
Good evening, gentlemen. My name is Scott Kim from 823 Mill Road. Just to recap why I am here, a couple of meetings ago I had requested to replace 2 trees on the property toward the rear of the house that were diseased. One was diseased, the other one was dead. I had requested to have them replaced with 3 deciduous trees. I'm sorry. I requested to have these 2 trees back here replaced with 3 native deciduous trees. And per the committee and Mr. Norsini's request, I was asked to bring back a letter from a certified arborist, just stating the conditions of the tree and to confirm whether or not they needed to be taken down and replaced. And I believe you all may have an exhibit of that, of the certified, okay. Yeah, that's why I'm here.
There are 3 trees that have got X's through them on the ground. What's this one in the far back?
I'm sorry, which one?
There's one sort of towards the back of the, it doesn't show up on yours, but it shows up on this one. This X back here? Is that right, or is that a crop?
This one was, that's already been, that's been removed, and that was granted by the township. So
Okay.
Come out to
That's fine.
take a look for it. That was a dead tree.
But you could plant these other 3, right?
Oh, yes.
And they're shown on those drawings?
They are.
Tell the people on the microphone.
So the trees that have been removed will be replaced accordingly, depending on the radius of their tree, the widths of those trees, with native deciduous trees, and it's all represented on the right side on the legend right here. The trees to be that were removed and the replacement trees that we're going to replace.
As a matter of interest, what's the one that says Playhouse on it?
Playhouse was it was an old rotted playhouse that existed on the property when we purchased the home 5 years ago. It's a little kind of dangerous for the kids, a lot of splinters, so that's been removed as well.
Put a tree in its place?
Perhaps. I mean, we're on a roll with these. Also, there's also one more thing that Sue Jones actually brought to my attention. So is this something that needs to be discussed, the seepage beds? We actually revised our grading plans to relocate the seepage bed, which was originally proposed to be on this corner of the house. Okay. Which was originally proposed to be on this corner of the home. There's a pitch here, and it just didn't make sense to me, but I thought for some reason, perhaps the earth engineer wanted it there for some reason. There's a puddle collection that always collects right here at the bottom of the driveway. I thought it might be a better idea to relocate the seepage bed over there, and everyone seemed to agree, which is why we had proposed, and I guess we're granted the permission to relocate the seepage bed to this portion of our driveway.
Okay, no, we, thank you for relocating your seepage bed. I might be missing some, but can you tell me, and this is the first that we've seen these, so I'm sorry.
Okay.
But can you tell me what species of trees you're planning to put back?
Everything that we're proposing to put back, and per our previous meetings, were native deciduous trees. It's going to be a mix of native deciduous trees along with a couple of screen trees, perhaps some arborvitaes that were proposed on the plans here. But we're going to responsibly replace some of the larger trees that we had taken down with a native species of tree.
Okay, and it'll be a native large canopy?
I'm not exactly sure what a large canopy refers to.
Large canopy are things like oaks and maples rather
Yes,
than
yes.
dogwoods? Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Now, page 4 shows how many trees you're taking down? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. All those ones with X's you're coming down, is that right?
All the ones that are X's. Everything has been taken out, and that's originally been granted. This is my second time around.
All right.
Which is why they've been taken out and they will be replaced. But I guess for the purpose of today's meeting, it was just these two trees back here behind the house.
So if we're talking about total removal, I apologize, I was not here for
No
the
worries.
earlier meeting. Total removal, including the 3 additional trees that you're asking this evening, is how many?
The total removal, if I'm not mistaken, was 17 trees, if I'm not mistaken.
And do any of your drawings happen to show a breakdown of the size and types of those 17 trees for the purposes of coming up with a formula for replacement? I didn't see that in your, is it in sheet 4? Okay. So the 27 trees are listed on sheet 4, include the 3 this evening that we're considering for without the permit.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
Now, you haven't figured out where you're going to plant the new ones, right?
I'm sorry?
You didn't show us a plan of where you're planning to plant the new ones yet.
Well, they're located around the property here.
Okay. Which sheet is that number?
Sheet number 4 of 5.
Oh, okay. So what's shown on there are not necessarily existing trees, they're all new ones too.
Yes, exactly. And the ones that are protected currently. And also, gentlemen, right now we're in the process of completely redoing this home. It was an old carriage home on Mill Road. It's been a long construction process, but right now the main focus is primarily the main house and with the addition. And as far as the landscaping goes, I mean, we're really going to put a lot of effort into the landscaping of the home. All these trees will be there ultimately when we plant them. But just, if this tree ends up over here, because aesthetically it might look nicer if it were positioned like that, then that's something I wanted to discuss and make sure and clarify today that was okay to do. If it was off just outside the plans, or what is on the plans right now, if that's the way it has to be, and this is going to be set in stone. Because quite honestly, I did not have I did not contract with a landscape architect yet, but I want to do it nicely, and I don't want to just throw them all over the place, yeah, so to speak.
Now, what we primarily request, we're, again, an advisory board, and as long as you indicate, what your intentions are, certainly understand that, if the trees you're going to put back in, have an obstruction somewhere along the line that you need to move them one way or another. We don't,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
We, in some ways, have asked for 11 by 17s, and we have got them, which makes it much easier to handle. But now the scale is out of control. We have where you have, I guess we're on sheet 4, proposed tree protection fence if required. And, oh, okay, thank you.
Did you need this copy as well for Joe?
The new ones are all the ones that are in dark that don't have access through them, is that correct?
That's correct. And the existing ones are protected.
Yeah.
So the only existing ones left are protected.
Yes.
There are 1, 2, 3, there are 5 or 6 or 7 of them. Two at one, 3 along the top, and
Yes.
2 along the left side, 3 along the left side, 4 along the side. All the rest are new.
I'm sorry.
Arborvitae's hedge, right?
Arbor, yeah.
Yeah, hedge screening.
Not crazy about them, but certain places on our land might warrant having them. But, it's kind of a trashy tree, so. So.
Okay, again on sheet 4. You have a 40-inch tree. It's not identified by species, but it's, again, near where you have your bold letters, proposed tree protection fence if required. A 40-inch tree, and you're showing a 20-foot protection fence.
I'm sorry, Mr. Holden, where, this tree here?
Go over a little bit more.
Okay, now just,
Move up, right there.
yeah, right there.
Oh, okay.
Your protection fence is 20 feet in width. You have a 40-inch caliber tree, and you have a proposed stone wall going in there as well, correct?
No, that is not going to be a stone wall. Initially, we had thought of putting a retaining wall there. I don't believe that they should still be on the plans, quite frankly. This retaining wall, you're.
You're saying they don't belong on this set of plans?
Yeah, we originally had discussed the idea of putting one there, and it just caught my eye that it still is on the plans there. We're going to perhaps grade it, just flat and smooth it out, perhaps. But there's nothing that we're going to do. We decided to go against the retaining wall, so that's not going to be there. I'll have those removed from the plans.
Question, how much is the grading there? I mean, would the downward slope or grading put a lot of dirt on top of the roots of those trees?
It doesn't get really steep until right about here. Our kids like to sled down this little hill, and but right here is relatively flat, and right starting here where the originally proposed retaining wall was, is where it starts to slope downward. So with regards to, I guess, these existing trees back here, I don't know what the distance would be from the retaining wall, the start of the slope to here, but we're not doing really any grading. I mean, it's just, there's not going to be much done to that front of the house there.
But my point was going to be, you're not going to be piling lots of dirt on top of the roots there.
No. That's, we're not going to be doing that. Perhaps back here, though.
Do you know what species of trees you're dealing with?
To my knowledge, all I've been told were that they were native deciduous trees. My brother-in-law, who's a landscaper, I guess knows a gentleman who has a nursery, and he needs to get some of these trees off his nursery and plant the new trees, I guess. So I was hoping to take advantage of that situation by getting a bunch of these native deciduous trees, taking a look at them, making sure that, they're aesthetically pleasing, and see that they fit the bill prior to doing that. But I haven't had a chance to go up to that nursery just yet. But from what I've been told, they're deciduous native trees.
I mean, the existing.
Oh, the existing ones.
Yeah.
These two back here. That's a black birch.
No, the ones I'm concerned about, again, are the ones we just talked about previously, where you're suggesting the landscape wall.
These two here.
And you're saying you're going to grade in that area and make the wall go away.
Oh, no. It's not going to be graded here. Anything to be graded will be toward the rear of the house, right back here. It's just not flat land there. It could be flattened out a little bit. But up front, there's really not going to be much done with regards to the grading of the land.
So the landscape wall was not going to have any soil retention purposes or grading purposes?
No. Originally, we had wanted to put that wall there just so there wasn't such a large slope down to the home. But
But your site plan shows maybe a drop of 6 or 7 inches moving down there. I don't see any large sloping area unless I'm reading your plan.
yeah, the only real dip or slope would be right about here, right in this area here.
And what would that be?
That's going to be flattened out a
Approximately.
little bit. It's just it's a tilted piece of land right up here, so we just want to make the walkway such that it's not. But that doesn't really require much grading or anything drastic.
The front is Mill Road, right?
Mill Road.
Okay, and it slopes downward from Mill Road down towards the back, or does it go slope upwards towards the back?
The slope itself? The slope actually goes, if you're on Mill Road, it's going to slope 2 o'clock facing the house. So you're facing the house on Mill Road,
Right,
the slope would go downward 2 o'clock.
a little bit.
A little bit.
Not tremendously.
Yeah, not very much. Which is why, actually, we wanted to move this seepage bed, going back to this plan over here, because this is where all the collection is, right in this area where the proposed driveway is. It's always a puddle. Always a puddle.
Okay, the biggest issue I'm having right now is that the ordinance requires that all the trees on your plan be identified by species, and I don't see that. You're proposing some grade changes, minor, whatever, but depending on species, some trees are extremely sensitive to grade change. And without knowing what species of tree that 40-inch caliber tree is.
This tree here?
Yes.
So this is identified over here on this legend as a buttonwood, I believe. Is that what you were referring to, Mr. Olden?
Okay, so you've translated your
Yeah,
numbers
so-
to a chart.
Right. If you look at it's either, I'm sorry, that could be an elm or a buttonwood. I think that might actually be an elm tree there. But there's a legend on the right-hand side.
Yeah, I see that. That's not the way we usually run it. It usually suggests what the species is at the location of the tree, not in a chart.
Because it would minimize, we're not sure whether it's a buttonwood or an elm, as you're saying, and I'm not sure if you're
Right.
sure.
I think, I'm almost certain, according to this legend, it is an elm tree. Right below here, there's an existing tree legend, and the tree identified here would be an elm tree.
But you don't know what size diameter the trunk is? Or do you know what size diameter the trunk is?
Well, wouldn't that be the 40 inches right here?
40-inch elm. But you're saying they're looking at the legend. I assume that's a 40-inch elm,
Yes.
and to the left of that is a 24-inch maple, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And then in that same area, you have another 24-inch maple, a 34-inch maple, and a 16-inch maple.
Yes. And the trees, the native deciduous trees to be replaced would be one of the trees, I guess, on the approved list of deciduous trees. That's what we're proposing here.
Okay, I would be very concerned about any grading that would take place.
On the front.
Yeah, especially with a 40-inch elm. Elms are very rare to begin with, and if you have one, you need to do all you can not to mess around with its root system, so to speak.
Understood.
No, other than did he meet Steve's requirements for stormwater management, I assume we're okay with that?
Well, that's up to the
Mr. Orsini, right?
you're good.
Mr. Chairman and the board, as far as from the shade tree standpoint, Mr. Kim has met any of the requests I had from the last meeting. The other part is still under review, but from the tree standpoint, he did by moving the seepage bed, which we appreciate. think that made a lot of sense.
Okay, and again, I would avoid, you make certain that you have an adequate tree protection fence, not necessarily as drawn, but definitely within, outside the drip line of those trees.
Yes.
And hopefully no grading within the range of that elm.
Yeah, we will definitely, it'll be addressed, any concerns about that happening. We'll keep some distance from that, and definitely will mention it to the guys.
Okay.
It's a matter of my interest. What are you doing? What are you? All the renovations of the house inside, or you're adding additions, or what?
It's basically the home, the foundation of the home hasn't moved. We kind of went up. I don't know if you're familiar with the home, but the second floor was kind of a weird shaped size. We just kind of boxed it out, squared it off a bit, modernized it. We made it a LEED certified home, and added a detached garage to that home.
I'll have to go look at it. Thank you.
Yeah. Anytime, feel free to stop by. Thank you, gentlemen.
Okay, that being approved, we move on to the second item on the agenda, 229 and 255 West Wayne Avenue.
Good evening. Kaz Holloway, CF Holloway III and Company, equitable owner of 229 and 255 West Wayne Avenue. We've submitted our final plans. If you recall, we met before this board back in March. We requested the removal of 10 trees on the property. At that meeting, we actually had photographs. There's a 38-inch walnut that is almost dead. It's this tree right here. Right next to it, there's a 31-inch bald cypress, which will remain. And the plan was designed to preserve that tree and keep as far away from the root ball as possible. The other trees, very quickly, there's a 9-inch maple right here that is also in distress. There is a Norway maple cluster right here at the corner of the property. There are 3 cedars, a 15-inch, 14-inch, and 18-inch cluster of cedars that were approved to be removed at that meeting. There's a mulberry cluster right back here. I'm sorry, is that mulberry cluster? There's a cherry cluster right here. And there were 2. There was a 24-inch spruce that has been topped, and a 13-inch cedar which is partially uprooted from a storm. So there are the 10 trees that we requested to be removed.
Did you get approval before?
Pardon me?
Did you get approval for any of them in the last time around?
They were all approved at the last meeting.
Okay.
So what I have with me tonight is our landscape plan. You should have that in your packet. We're showing a compensatory tree chart. Shows the removed trees, the 8 6 to 23-inch caliber, the 1 24 to 25-inch caliber, and the 1 36-inch caliber. Actually, it's a 38-inch caliber. The replacements are a total of 13 trees. This plan actually has a total of 60 trees on the land. We did a complete landscaping plan. Our street trees that are on, there's 2 on West Wayne Avenue and then 5 along Conestoga Road. They're the Acer sacrum sugar maples, which is an approved species. 3-inch caliber. Everything we did is 3-inch caliber or larger, even though the minimum is 2.5. We have 16 flowering pairs. I should know the Latin name, but
There's Caloriana.
thank you, Howard.
You know which variety of them?
The aristocrat? Does that sound
Yeah,
right?
okay,
Okay.
sounds good, thanks.
Okay. That's not my... Thank you. We have, around the perimeter, because we have to our east, the neighbor is 8 townhomes. So we're doing 9 spruce trees in this location, and then along the rear, which backs up to Lenore Avenue, we have an additional 9 8 to 10 foot high spruce trees. We also have, I believe, 5 magnolias and 4 Nellie Stevens. So we've done a comprehensive plan to really landscape the entire, the 6 new townhomes that we're building and heavily landscape around our Adelberger florist.
You want to remind me about the, what's that one down there in the bottom, in the middle, that doesn't have any color in it?
The cypress, the bald cypress, the big tree, or bald cypress? Yes.
That's one you're retaining, is that correct?
Yes, yes. Actually, I have a picture of that. If you look at this, the 38-inch walnut is here, and you can see the 31-inch bald cypress right here. And if you look at our plan, you'll see how we kept a wide berth for both the sidewalk. If you recall the original plan, we had right off the center, coming off the intersection, we had a sidewalk going right alongside the tree. So we removed everything. We actually kept the drive curb going right over where the dead walnut tree was being removed. So it's kind of, we were very cognizant of this board's request to make sure we've protected that bald cypress.
Howard, is that, where that driveway is along the edge near there, is that, sufficiently far away, it's not going to have a problem with the roots there? You're a tree guy, I'm not.
Yeah, again, it's, the difficulty comes when you drop down to 11 by 17.
This is the identical plan that was reviewed by the board in March for our preliminary. So it's, if you look on the existing condition plan, you'll see where that walnut is. It's in very close proximity. We have to remove that entire root ball for both.
Steve, do we have a full set that we can look at? I'm sorry.
I think I can give you my sack.
Or we can look at yours, that'd be fine. Okay, so we've got 120.
And that's an existing telephone pole right there.
Feet there.
That's 1 inch equals 20
20
feet.
feet, yeah. It's 10.
Yeah, page 5 is where they show down the ones they're taking down.
Pardon me?
Page 5 is where they're showing the ones you're taking out, right?
Yeah, it's this one. That's these. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
No, you don't even do that. Here you have 10. Yeah, here you have 12.
But that, Howard, that's the same, this is the same plan that was presented at the March meeting. Yeah.
This is the one that shows the trees are taken out.
Yeah, no, that I understand.
See, this is coming out, and that's where that, because,
Because that's going to do additional damage to this as well.
well, he was going to grind that, and then we weren't going to just yank it out. We were going to grind it and then just locate we were going to really do, yes, yeah. But our arborist felt that was, the impact on the cypress would be minimal because of the overburden of the walnut. And the walnut tree is not, the chances are this root system grew away from the walnut. Yes. But if you can recall, we originally had this sidewalk coming right up alongside the tree.
Right. You move that.
He also had another parking space here.
Yeah, we moved everything. And we eliminated, if you recall, we had parking spaces on this side. And we took those parking spaces out totally.
Oh, that's it. We don't have that in our.
Oh, you have it in
That's what we
black and
don't
white.
have.
Right, I don't have it in large size in
We
the plan.
plan to just say that. We have it this.
Yeah, I'm not concerned necessarily about the planting, I'm more concerned about this.
Maintaining this and protecting this.
Okay. Thanks.
Mhm.
I just wanted to see what he had, whether he had any.
Okay, I think we're good with it. The one issue I want to make certain is that your arborist takes extra care of whatever takes place in the root zone of that bald cypress. You know,
Okay.
no mechanical, just ripping of the roots, that they're they're carefully cut when they come across them. If the tree, can be fertilized prior to any work that's done on it, that would certainly help.
Okay.
And rather than simple snow fence type of tree protection, I would recommend if you would seriously consider putting up a chain link fence as your tree protection around that tree.
Mr. Chairman, can I, as we did on previous applicants, just request that they all become notes on the plan along
Yes.
with the deep root
Yes.
feeding and whatever pruning is required,
Yep,
and then that's memorialized.
right,
And our engineer is here this evening, so he's
okay,
Brian Mattson from Omni.
right. Now, they would be, just simple conditions, but that's what we would request.
Would super sill fence be appropriate as opposed to a chain link? Would that?
Not speaking for the chair, but I think the chain link fence is higher than the super silk fence. I think what you're.
Okay.
So that could stop any machines that are backing up. It gives a better chance of avoiding going over the roots or damaging the bark or the tree.
Okay, that's fine.
Okay.
Can it be 8 foot high then with the protection? I'm only kidding.
Okay, all righty.
We concur on this?
Pardon?
We concur on this.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Okay, it's approved with those conditions. Thank you.
You want this, Cass?
Mr. Haller, would you like this? I believe this one's yours.
Thank you.
Okay, third item on the agenda is 606 West Wayne Avenue.
I'm Brian Mattson from Omni and Associates. We are the civil engineers for the project. The owners of the property would like to build an addition onto their home, along with some additional patios, decks, grading, and some stormwater management controls. The project doesn't involve the removal of any trees. So you can see there's there's a heavily wooded area along the back of to the rear of the property. But the plan is to not remove any of the trees.
Are you removing any trees at all in the area right around where the house is?
No.
What kind of additions or changes are you making to this thing? What you have on the drawing there, is that the colored stuff, is that where the existing house, or is that the addition that's going to be
The
constructed?
existing house is this white area here.
Uh-huh.
The color area is the building addition.
And what's in its place right now?
The existing plan, kind of hard to see at this scale. There's some decks and patios around the side of the house that are being removed. and in its place will be the building addition.
But basically, it's already developed land, you're just undeveloping it and adding more piece to it.
Right.
But there are no trees there at this point.
There are none.
On page 3, I see you have silt fences and stuff around the trees that are there. Are they going to have any, are they going to be affected at all by the construction stuff? You know, the contractors or bulldozers or whatever else are going back there? You can understand. What's the area of disturbance, I guess, is the real question. What is that dashed line? Is that water?
The yellow, which dash line?
The long dashed line that goes over, is that long bar there? Is that like a water retention system? Up by the topsoil stockpile? Put your finger on the drawing, right there. No, the line right below that.
Oh, this here.
Yes, sir.
That's the proposed stormwater management system.
Just what I thought it was. And the dashed line going from that to the house is just an underground pipe.
Right, it's just the storm leader.
Now, below that, you see the lines that have the fence and so forth on it? Yeah, that.
The green lines
Uh-huh.
are all silt fence, and the blue lines are the tree protection.
Are they far enough, Howard, away from the roots of the trees?
Yeah, I don't see that that's any significant threat to that size caliper tree where that's proposed.
Is there, right here, the line there, is that a tree under there? Let's see,
Up, to the right, to the down?
down, right, yeah, right here, a little further.
Down, right there.
Oh, that is a proposed inlet. No, that's just, that circular symbol is just the inlet protection symbol.
Oh, boy.
Not a tree.
Just like a tree
Not
symbol.
a tree, no, that's a proposed inlet.
Mr. Norcidio, on an issue that's probably outside the realm of shade tree, but as I was passing through the plans, I saw that, a silt fence was required around that topsoil pile. Do we ever require super silt fence around topsoil?
The silt fence type and size is going to be determined by the area going to it, velocity. For the topsoil piles, it's always the minimal silt fence. Number one, it's always a temporary issue, and the area is very small. It's just limited to that of the pile, so that is acceptable.
Okay, thanks. Okay, we're all in agreement, and it's approved.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, fourth item is 100 Matson Ford Road, building number 2.
Good evening. My name is Dan Malloy. I'm here representing the Radnor Corporate Center. We're over at building number 2, which is just off of Matson Ford Road. What I have on the left is the existing front of the building that shows the front entrance and the existing walkway leading to the entrance. And on the right is the proposed lobby, where we are basically widening the access to the front of the lobby. And the issue, as you can see here, is there is one tree that would be removed, and it's an 18-inch maple tree. So we are proposing to install a one compensatory tree. I know that the corporate center hasn't quite decided on the location, but it would be someplace in this area. But as you can see, there's a number of trees already around the front, so they were a little hesitant to put it back in the front. It's about 440 square feet of new paving, so it's not a significant area, but we did have to lose the one tree. So we have a letter from Bartlett Tree Experts. I don't know if that made it into your packet.
No, I haven't seen that.
I
no.
didn't see it.
We gave a little explanation about the health of the tree.
Here, that's right, Dan. You can share it with them up there. Thank you.
Okay, you're going to plant a replacement tree, correct, somewhere?
Mimi, are you going to plant it? The owner is indicating probably more than one.
Okay, thank
Great.
you.
Thank you very much.
Pleasure to see you again.
Okay, the last item on the agenda is 11 Earls Lane.
Good evening. My name's David D'Agostino Builders. Tonight in front of you is a plan to construct a new home on 11 Earls Lane. Closest intersection would be Earls Lane and Malin Road. Landmark being probably Sawmill Road, Bridge, and Earls Lane, right up the street from that intersection there. We're proposing to build about a 4,300 square foot home. This plan was actually in front of the commission probably about 2 years ago. Since then, we've made the home smaller, so I think it's impacted the trees less. At this point, we're looking to remove 14 trees and replace them with 18 trees. If you look at the schedule there, we follow the township requirements, and numerous trees are being done mainly for construction purposes. I think there's one actually for a retention basin, stormwater facility. So I asked you tonight to look at the plan.
I notice a lot of trees are the bottom left corner. Are you taking out all the trees that are along there, or are you just taking out some of them? I see a bunch of X's down there. No, bottom left corner. Bottom left.
Over here,
Yeah.
front of the house.
Uh-huh.
This is slope right here. We're going to be putting the driveway in at that point there. So I think once you put in the driveway in, you're going to wind up impacting the root system there. But we do have trees going back there.
Is that what those other circles are, new trees?
That are new trees. That is correct. If you haven't walked the site mainly slopes from left to right, my left actually, looking at the plan, and also from front to back. So the steeper part of the site would be over here, everything sloping down this way here. So obviously when you take the driveway and bring your driveway in and get your turnaround area, that's what you're seeing right here is actually the grading of the slope of the hill, and it's going to impact probably the root structure of those trees there. So I thought best to take them down and replace them. They're all listed on the plan here.
If the board has a smaller 11 by 17s, it's a
Yeah, they are listed.
30.
36-inch copper, 13-inch peach, 18-inch peach, 30-inch copper. Come down further, 10-inch peach, 22-inch peach. The one to the right of the house over here, 20-inch poplar, 16-inch ash, 13-inch ash over here. 16-inch tulip.
We're going to start giving you folks full-size plans again.
Either that or change the scale proportion.
And the one at the top right, that's a water retention facility up there?
This one here, yes.
What's on the other side of the line there? Is that another piece of property, or is that like a stream or something?
Over here?
Yeah.
That's actually a pond that was there. It's been there for years, which we're actually going to do some work, which is DEP's requirement to fix that up and actually breach it eventually. So
Mr. D'Agostino, if I may, the board, so that's the, behind that lot is the Earls Lake Dam.
Well, I can explain the whole property to you probably a little better. This particular lot here is part of a 3-lot subdivision. There's another lot over here that I own, and then there's this property that goes all the way back to Sawmill Road that I own. There's an existing house up there right now. This was formerly Schultz property. In between these 2 lots and the existing house on Sawmill, there's a pond in there, which is actually fed from the Earls Lakes Pond, which is up here on this side of the property. Drains down and comes through there. In the course of the past year, we've had a lot of discussions with DEP on keeping this, rebuilding the head wall here. They would like to see it come down, so eventually, the next, 6 to 8 months, it'll probably be taken down and then redirected as per their instructions.
Will there still be a pond there, or no?
It'll be more of a stream, is what they want. And I think that has something to do with Earls Lake and what's happening above with that. I think they're planning on,
Doing away with Earls Lake?
correct.
That's a shame.
Yeah. My original thought was to keep the pond. Obviously, there's big responsibilities, and DEP wanted them to take it down. And in the end of the day, I think it's a better better all-around solution. We can do a lot with it down there and make it a pretty wide stream bed, so.
As a matter of my interest, how does it affect the downstream from that? Does it widen the stream downstream or no?
Doesn't do anything downstream there.
It does for about 3 hours, and that's it.
Yeah. I get a look about 4 inches thick from DEP, Whitehead Pond, and every other pond in the Commonwealth should come out. So, from warming waters and the fishes and everything, so. But I think that's a whole nother discussion, a whole nother night.
Most of the trees you're taking out is because you're putting the house right where they're going to sit.
Well, most of them. I mean, the lot's heavily wooded, so they would have to go somewhere. I mean, I've probably, where I'm putting the house right now probably impacts the trees the least. You can see if I move it further down this way here, there's more trees in here. Yeah, it's probably take more of these out and save more of those. I mean, it's
Mr. Chairman, if I could, out on Earl's Lane, I gave you my good plan. So I think it's a 30-inch tulip poplar that with the big X through it right at the base of the driveway.
Right?
Would it be worth, and I don't know if Mr. D'Agostino can do this, if the entrance of the driveway was slid to the right facing the plan, maybe sacrifice the 12-inch red oak instead of the 30-inch tulip poplar? I don't know, from the geometry, I don't know, it might, your engineer ought to look at getting in that driveway, but if it was 1 for 1, I would recommend maybe we get to keep the 30-inch tree, and the smaller, I believe that says red oak, would be. Just one other item on the plant schedule, there's just a typo from the engineer. It shows 16 sugar maples and 11 scarlet oaks, which would be 27. Mr. D'Agostino is meeting the ordinance at 18. We just need to make that match up.
The only comment I have regarding the planning schedule is I would diversify those 2 species. Red oak currently is being attacked by bacterial blight. Red maple can get what's called shoestring fungus, and with only those two trees, you're not quite a monoculture, but you're kind of working towards one. So I would recommend that you diversify your large canopy tree species.
I still can use some of those, but just put other ones in there.
Yeah, I would go with other large canopies, not just those 2. And I would concur with Mr. Norsini that if you move your driveway more to the right and sacrifice that existing red oak and preserve your larger tulip poplar.
I have no problem with that. I mean, I can run it by my engineer, but just looking at the plan and from my experience, I think we should be able to accommodate that and still be able to build the driveway in there.
And then the number of trees, again, down in that lower corner, your driveway is still somewhat close, not somewhat, but it's going to be in the root systems of those trees. And I would have a professional arborist, feed those trees in advance. This is an ideal time to feed trees because they're still uptaking nutrients. And then also no mechanical, backhoes, whatever, ripping up root systems, but rather that the root systems are literally cut with a chainsaw or whatever, rather than just pulling them out of the ground.
Now, these trees down here that are the circles on the bottom left, I mean, you see where the X's are down on the left. All those trees, they're new or are they existing still?
These are all the new trees.
Oh, those are all new.
It's the X's that are coming out.
What about these other ones, like on the left-hand side where the X's are? Are they existing? No, you're in the right place.
Right here?
No, down.
Oh,
The circles,
You're
right
down,
along.
I'm up. Yeah, okay. Yeah,
those
these are,
sphere-
these
the
are
opens-
existing over here.
Okay.
These are existing over here. The ones with X's are
being removed. Well,
And those
it's,
here are the ones that are-
yeah,
But the existing ones are the ones we're concerned about keeping, right?
yes.
So what Mr. Holden said, I guess, is even in addition to the ones that are being taken out, there are also going to be other ones there that are going to be affected, which
Right.
if we move the driveway, I would think would help that situation as well.
Right.
So,
And when you remove those existing trees, you're not going to be digging out the root balls or the root system? You're just going to cut them and do a minor stump grind?
that's typically what we do there.
Okay.
I mean, the ones that are in the house and around the house, I have to pull their stumps out. I mean, just it's,
Right.
but the ones up in here, I can grind them. It's actually just leave the root structures
Right.
in the ground.
What's the ones where the houses are big trees, right?
What's that?
The ones you're cutting down where the trees, where the house is, those are big trees. It's not like you can dig them up and move them, right?
No.
That's worth,
28-inch.
was worth a question.
Yeah. I've moved them before. I built a development down in Marple not too long ago and moved over 40 trees before we started in there. Moved them on the property lines and stuff like that. Not a 32. They were all, I'm not sure any of them got over 15, 18 inches. So.
Okay, Mr. Orsini, I think we're good with the conditions that we recommended for, a conditional approval. Again, slightly outside the realm of the Shade Tree Commission, they're showing a topsoil stockpile, and it's 1,000 cubic yards of soil. Is that going to fit within that space, or is it going to intrude on some of the trees not far from that?
Mr. Chairman, you bring up a good point, and if Mr. D'Agostino is going to be coming back next month with revised plans with your conditions, because I think all the items you mentioned should be memorialized on the plans. The root pruning, as we've been pretty much making a standard comment on that. One of the hard things to tell on the plan, again, the circle that denotes an existing tree is the same diameter circle for a 36-inch tree as well as a 16-inch tree or an 18-inch tree. So it doesn't give the Shade Tree Commission a good idea of scale. They just all look the same. So maybe if Mr. D'Agostino has to go back to adjust the drive, change the table when he comes back, if his engineer could address that situation to try to give some form of scale to those trees, we could take a better look. I don't know if that amount of topsoil would fit there. That's just a symbol they're putting there. Hey, this is where we're going to store the topsoil. It very well may not at all fit there. They might have to actually have a couple of spots. And that way, if the trees are sized appropriately, we can really look at where they're going to put that. Because it is such a heavily wooded lot. They're going to be in a squeeze for room. But that's an excellent point.
Okay.
So
We'll-
we're
we'll
coming back.
We'll see you next month. Not next month. That's the next announcement I need to make, is there's no December Shade Tree Commission meeting due to the winter holidays. So
So
it would
I
be
can't do anything until
it would be January when
my
you
building
come.
permit or anything like that.
My question would be, do we need, if he's willing to do the things that we put down as conditions, does he have to come back before us?
If my recommendation to the Shade Tree Commission, I'm not trying to put Mr. D'Agostino through any undue work, and I know it's an extra month, but he's in for grading permit now. Okay, that's just been submitted. And if this is going to change that should be shown on the final set of plans, and we should have one set of plans that shows where the driveway's going, what trees are being taken care of, what's going to remain. And that way, if Doug Meter goes out to inspect, he's looking at the same thing we just discussed tonight, and not, not that Mr. D'Agostino wouldn't do it, but sometimes it's lost in the translation between grading permit and this commission. So I suggest everything be carried through.
So grading permit be resubmitted and everything.
Or you can, not necessarily resubmitted. You're going to get comments back that was just submitted. So you're going to get comments back. On the next one, you'll submit a revised one. I don't think, without seeing what those comments are, I don't think this is going to be a big change. You're sliding something over, so that shouldn't affect that process. But when it's all said and done, the final plans that everybody's approved should show those changes and this commission.
But just so I'm clear with the procedure, the building permit can't be reviewed until we have a final. So
That's correct.
I'm looking at, late January or whenever to actually be able to apply for a building permit, which would be 2 months.
Was that in your plan?
What's that?
Was that in your schedule plan?
No, I was hoping to have it sooner than that. If they would review the building permit in the process, that would be.
I mean, that's not our call, but that's not the procedure.
Okay.
All this gets done in that grading permit. There's a zoning check. There's all the other issues that go through, for stormwater ordinance. So I can't usurp that process with a concurrent review.
And the only reason I would be asking is because we're losing a month here in December.
It's this commission's call. It was just my recommendation that I just try to keep everything consistent going through. Not trying to put an extra burden on the developer at all.
Yeah, the other conditions that we mentioned, I'm relatively comfortable with, but again, that 1,000 cubic yards of topsoil is my biggest concern, and until we know what really is going to happen to that much soil, I have a difficult time approving this until there is a definite calculation as to how much footprint that amount of soil is going to require.
And Mr. Hoopman, the applicant's engineer can provide that. There's a height limit on the topsoil stockpile to show that much topsoil will actually fit there. Or if that's if it's a correct amount, it's not a typo. That's a considerable amount of topsoil for one house. I'm very surprised. I'm wondering if that's not a typo. 1,000 cubic yards for one lot.
If you were to remove it from the site, that would eliminate that would that eliminate that as a problem temporarily? I mean, are you planning to use that 1,000
Sure.
cubic yards when you come back?
Mr. Norsini makes a good point. As I'm doing the calculations in my head, 1,000 square yards. That's a lot of topsoil.
I mean,
No
that's usually that of a small subdivision.
Yeah. So
If you were doing like a 3-lot, 4-lot subdivision, you might get 1,000 cubic yards. So I'm thinking there's a typo there.
yeah, I have no plans on taking any of it off site. I plan on reusing it on site. So.
In understanding the position of the developer, I would be reticent of trying to usurp the normal procedure, because then you're setting a precedent, and then why do you do it in this one and not someone else? And, that's how I view it, that you really should stick to procedures and protocol.
All right.
Okay, sir, we'll see you in January. Thank you.
What's the date in January?
I don't have it in my,
Fourth Wednesday. All right.
thank you. Okay, any other items? Yeah, have a pleasant holiday season. We'll see you in 2013.